Well, joining us now, Andy Ngo. He's a senior editor at the Post Millennial and a New York Times best-selling author. Julio Rosas from The Blaze is also here with us. He wrote a very important book as well called Fiery but Mostly Peaceful, The 2020 Riots and the Gaslighting of America. Gentlemen, it's great to have you both here with us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, John.
All right, so Julio, first to you. You've been out there on the ground in L.A. and you posted this video. And just tell us a little bit more what you're seeing out there and how do you compare it to what you saw in 2020?
Well, we're finally starting to get some level of order on a more consistent basis in Los Angeles. In that video that you're showing right now, the anti-ICE protesters marched onto the 101 freeway again, but instead of being able to be on the road for a very long time, the California Highway Patrol did respond very quickly to push the agitators off the street. And so they weren't on the road, thankfully, for the commuters for very long. And that's just an example of how LAPD, the county sheriff's department, and basically all the police agencies that have been deployed here are being more decisive. It seems that they've been given the orders to actually try to break up these crowds that get unruly or do anything too serious before the crowds get too big and too out of control for them to handle. And so it just shows that they always had that power, right? I mean, this went on. Usually in these cases in like liberal cities, they go on for way too long because it's not because necessarily the lack of personnel, it's the lack of the ability to actually do something with rioters, and that comes from Democratic leadership.
Exactly. A lot of times the law enforcement's hands are tied because of the Democratic leadership in these cities. And also, Andy has a book called Unmasked. It's a must-read if you're following along with these protests. And, you know, we've seen the destruction on a large scale in Los Angeles. It's similar to what you've witnessed yourself in Seattle, Andy. I think you've been posting some video. I want to take a look at this interaction. This is a clip that you posted on X. Take a look at this.
I got to ask, what's the point of doing that at this point? Like, what's the point of tagging? I'm just asking. No, I wanted to know because, you know, Old Vera Street, your thoughts on...
Get them the out of our city. If they don't stop, we're going to continue. We'll burn it all down.
I know, but vandalism, what does it do?
We burn it all down. You don't understand, stupid?
No, I'm not trying to be stupid. Well, how come they're destroying the Mexican properties? The Mexican
property, bro.
Across the way at Old Vera Street.
I didn't do that.
Well,
this is their property.
Well, you should tell people to stop destroying.
I never touched a small business ever.
Okay.
Never. Only government property. Thank you, sir.
Gotcha.
Like, it's okay if you destroy government property. But, Andy, I think what we've also seen is, you know, because of your reporting, because of Julio's reporting, a lot more Americans are aware of the tactics that are employed by Antifa, and they're less tolerant to put up with it.
Well, I hope so, because all that we've been seeing is nothing new from the riot and looting tactics. It's exactly what happened 5 years ago. And back in 2018, ICE properties were also violently attacked by Antifa and open border activists because of lies in the media at that time during the first Trump administration. I think what we're experiencing in the United States right now is there's a crisis of far-left extremism. You know, one of the communist groups that were involved in organizing some of these direct actions across the U.S. right now is a organization that the recent D.C. Jewish Museum shooting suspect was involved in. And month after month, we're seeing violence coming from the far left, but it's not being treated as an epidemic or even a problem because of Democratic leadership. You see that at every statement that's been put out, either from Governor Newsom or the mayor of LA, it's been to downplay the violence or excuse it or even deny it and actually place the blame elsewhere, such as blaming Trump for trying to protect federal buildings. I think without the surge of federal officers and agents, that federal building in LA would probably have been besieged and burnt down by now.
Yeah, we saw that in 2020. Police stations, other government offices burned down as well. And, you know, one of the other things that's, I think, a little bit different about this time, I think you posted a video as well of some of those Lime scooters that these lunatics are commandeering and putting in the way of roadblocks. You know, I don't think we had as many Lime scooters back then in 2020. And, you know, it just seems like they're a little bit more organized, but also the police are standing in their way. I also wanted to ask you guys, too, about a guy named Terry Moran who used to work at ABC News. I was, once upon a time in my career when I was coming up, I looked at a guy like Terry Moran as someone I admired, but now I have a lot more admiration for you two and what you do. He, of course, posted that unhinged tweet focusing on Stephen Miller, calling him a world-class hater, which he deleted, but not before it went viral. ABC News says it violated their policy. The question we have, though, is this. Was it retaliation for this moment during his last interview when President Trump basically body slams him for ABC News' lack of coverage of Biden's decline? Take a look.
We had a president that was grossly incompetent. You knew it, I knew it, and everybody knew it, but you guys didn't want to write it because you're fake news.
All right. Thank you.
And by the way, ABC is one of the worst. I have to be honest with you.
What do you think, Julio?
It's funny, and it just shows that with the new Trump administration, things are very different. I mean, if Terry said these things the first time, he'd be paraded around the legacy media, but people are sick and tired of it. I mean, whether it's something as simple as the Biden mental acuity cover up, or something as big and chaotic as these riots. The propagandists in the media they don't do the job. They're operating on fumes in terms of public trust, and so I don't really know what Terry was trying to achieve with a post like that, but I just think people
maybe Terry had one
of
too many pops and was just stewing in self-doubt and anger when he posted. Who knows? We'll never know. Maybe he'll talk about it someday. Andy, real quick, what do you think? Was it? I mean, obviously, this is what ABC News had to do this, and we've seen other legacy media suffer the consequences of their biased coverage. A lawsuit against CBS, and another lawsuit, I think, against ABC as well.
Once upon a time when I was a student journalist, I used to quite admire Mr. Moran. But I think what we've seen over the years is drift in standards and ethics in mainstream media and news presenting, where journalists feel more and more comfortable to become commentators. And so if Mr. Moran wants to do that, he has certainly a view. He should do it, but not in the position of being a news presenter on ABC News. So I think ABC made the right decision, and I hope others follow suit, actually.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference between a broadcast network when these companies are using the public's airwaves to broadcast their message. This, of course, is a different forum. You guys have great forums as well. We should also mention real quickly before we say goodbye, Julio is also a Marine, a veteran. And are you going to go out and hang out with your fellow Marines, Julio?
Yeah, I might stop by and say hi.
All right. Well, good to see you both, gentlemen. Thank you for being here today. An honor to speak with you both.
My pleasure.